Hey, good morning. Michael DDA here. I say good morning. You know, it's morning for me. I don't know what it is. It may be you're listening from around the world at another time, but for me, it's morning. I can't help myself. Good day. We're going through Torah. We're continuing our adventure, our journey today. We talked about the testing. You know, I want to call it, my inclination is to call it about the sacrifice of Isaac. No, that is totally wrong. Don't even go there. It's the testing of Abraham. Oh my gosh, we've learned so many lies. Abraham was tested. Does Abraham love Yahovah more than he loves Isaac, the son that he waited for 50 years to conceive? Remember, we saw Isaac last week. Oh, the love that this family has. Abraham, Sarah, Isaac, and even the servants. The love they have for one another was so beautiful. Last week, we talked about this testing of Abraham once again. And we also covered in both Genesis and Yasher the death of Sarah. I like what Genesis says. These are the years of the life of Sarah. Sarah died at 127 years old. That means Isaac was 37 years old, and Abraham was 100 years more than that, 137 years old. Well, it's really important for us to keep track of the ages and to know how this is all coming down the flow, if you will. We saw that Satan came to Abraham. Remember, it was almost a bet between Yahovah and Satan. Test him. See if he really does love you. Remember, he was saying he only loves you when he needs something. And isn't that the case for most of us? We call upon Yahovah when we need something. But that's what Satan was saying. And so Yahovah said he tested him. But even while he was testing him, remember we saw last week that Satan came to Abraham, an old man, and called him a silly old man. Do you think you've actually heard from Yahovah? You're going to kill your son? He said, slaughter his son. Then he came to Isaac. As a young man, beautiful appearance, like Isaac. Called Abraham his silly old father. Silly old father. What did Isaac do? Dad, did you hear what this guy's saying? Remember? And it was Abraham who rebuked Satan and told him to get out. Then what? Then he made himself a big river. Circumstances. Oh, we can't do what Yahovah said because of the circumstances, don't you know? The signs. This is a sign that we're not supposed to do it. Abraham knew different. They went into the water anyway, up to their waist, up to their heads, necks. And then Abraham remembered this water wasn't here before. And he rebuked it. Rebuked Satan because he realized it was Satan that was doing it and it became dry. And finally, they came to the mountain. Oh my goodness. Remember, Yehovah said when they get there, they're going to show them a sign. The glory of Yehovah will shine upon the mountain, is what it said in Yasher. Didn't say that in Genesis. Just said what? I will show you. The mountain which I will show you. Well, he showed him a mountain with a pillar of fire and smoke on the top of it. Abraham saw it. Turned to Isaac. Do you see what I see? Yes, Father. A mountain with a pillar of fire reaching to heaven. They turned to Ishmael and Eliezer. Do you see what we see? We see nothing more than the mountains all around. Remember, oh my goodness, Isaac, he built the altar. Abraham couldn't hardly do it. Tie me tight, Father. Don't let me mess up the Olah to Yehovah. Remember, they're both just weeping, but rejoicing at the same time that Yehovah is wanting to use Isaac this way. They love the Creator. How many would give our life in service of the Creator? This is what it's all about, isn't it? Talking to men, not ladies. You give your life in service to your man. Well, at the last moment, it said the angel of mercy that spoke to Yehovah on behalf of Abraham and Isaac. Spare them. They're doing what you asked today, but spare them. And Yehovah did. Gave them a lamb in their place. Remember, all this is happening when? In the time of life. In the Moed. The time when we meet with Yehovah. Yehovah didn't appear to him except in a vision. But now Yehovah is appearing to them in a pillar of fire and smoke. It's the Moed. It's the day that the spiritual son is born. Isaac, remember, he was born on the Moed. I'm guessing that this particular day was his birthday. He was exactly 37 years old at this point in time. And isn't it interesting that the spiritual man was born on the Moed, but he also was going to be killed on the Moed. Slaughtered, not slaughtered, shakat on the Moed. Killed. And how much does that relate to the Passover that we do every year? Remember, it says in Numbers 9 that the man who will not bring the offering to Yehovah at the appointed time, his sins will remain on him, and he shall be cut off from among his people. Wow. Is Passover, the time of life, almost a reenactment of what's going on this particular day when Yehovah gave the lamb, the ram, the goat in place of Isaac, the spiritual man? That's when the ger becomes the Ezra. Remember, these incidents are very closely related. Well, Satan wasn't done, was he? He went to Sarah next. Do you know what your husband did? Remember, he came to her as a very old man. He relates to us similarly to ourselves, I think. Do you hear what he did? He stirred her all up. He killed his son, and his son begged for mercy. And he turned his ear from Isaac, wouldn't listen to him. You know, if Sarah was smart, she would have waited until her husband got home and talked to him about it and not gotten stirred up. He was gone. He told her, remember, he's told her that he was going to go to Shem and Heber's house, take Isaac to Shem and Heber's house to learn the way of Yehovah. Well, they went past Shem and Heber's house on the way to the land of Moriah from Be'er Sheva. So the first thing that Sarah did when she got this news was she ran to Shem and Heber's house in Hebron. Weren't there. Servants looked for him, couldn't find him. But you know what? I think by that time, dare I say that a woman is more inclined to be controlled, at least initially, by her emotions. Remember, she was very troubled. But finally, she came to her senses and realized that this was Yehovah's will. And as Yehovah's will, she rejoiced. She said something very similar to what Isaac and Abraham said. My tears are weeping, but my heart is rejoicing that you've chosen my son to be your olah, your sweet aroma to yourself. Oh, so very beautiful. Well, then Satan came back to her again. Remember, he was defeated even by her because her attitude changed. But now he comes back to her again. And what did he do? Your son is okay. I was wrong. Well, she was so delighted with joy. She died. She died. 127, the very same day that Isaac was 37. Well, and that makes perfect sense because chapter 22 follows chapter 23. We had just finished talking about, in 22, the testing of Abraham. And now, here we are, talking about Sarah dying and the 27th year of her life, 127th year of her life. Well, all of chapter 23 was about a discussion between, really, the purchase of the land, a cave and land, the cave of Machpelah. Two-part cave. A place for the initial decay and a place for the ossuaries, the bones to be stored in the back. It's in Kirjath Arba. It's in Hebron. Remember, that has several names. Kirjath Arba, Hebron, Mamre, and Machpelah. The field of Machpelah, the cave and the field of Machpelah. Got it from whom? The children of Heth? No, no, no. The sons, the seed of Heth. Men own the land. And really, we bought the cave. I'm Israel. Abraham bought the cave from Ephron, the son of Zochar, a Hittite. Oh, and you know what? I think this was really an interesting thing. We talked about the purchase price and all that. But really, Yasher made it very clear that we were doing a legal document. This was a legal proceeding. Remember, we bought it from Ephron. Abraham bought it from Ephron, the son of Zochar. He was dwelling, remember, he was a Hittite, dwelling with the sons of Heth, Heth's seed, in their land. I want to show you, I believe this is in Yasher. Let's turn to Yasher. I actually misspoke last week. Here it is, from the Hittites. These are the names of the witnesses. Right there. These are the names of the witnesses. Look, one of them was a Hittite. I said two of them were Hittites. I can't read sometimes. One of them was a Hittite. One of them was a Hivite. Here's the Hivite. One of them was a Gamorite. One of them was a Zidonite. Remember, firstborn son of Canaan, Sidon. S-I-D-O-N is usually how you're going to read that in the English. That's what we're talking about. Not one of them was a son of Heth. Isn't that interesting? But this was a legal document that Abraham put, what does it say? Next verse. And Abraham took the book of the purchase and placed it in his treasuries. Oh, very interesting. Well, we then finished reading through 17. There it is right there. They had days of mourning. Remember, they buried her like a king. Sarai. Buried her like a king. Who was there? The grandees of the land, it said. Abimelech was there with the head of his host. I forget what the head of his host's name was right offhand. Anar, Ashkel, Mamre, the kings of those cities. Remember, they're named after them, aren't they? They interned her like a king. They were the ones who carried her by. Look at even Shem and Eber were there. Well, they mourned. And this is where we left off last week, right here. And when the days of their mourning passed by, Abraham sent away his son Isaac, and he went to the house of Shem and Eber to learn the ways of Yahovah and his instructions. And Abraham remained there 3 years. 37. Now he's going away for 3 years. It's going to be 40 years old when he comes back. At that time, Abraham rose up with all his servants, and they went and returned homeward to Beer-sheva. That's where his main base has been. And Abraham and all his servants remained in Beer-sheva. And at the revolution of the year, Abimelech, king of the Philistines, died in that year. He was 193 years old. And Abraham went with his people to the land of the Philistines. And they, Abraham and his people, were talking about men, comforted the whole household and all his servants. When we're talking about all his servants, we're talking about all his avadim, servants. And he turned and went home. And it was after the death of Abimelech that the people of Gerar took, look at, Ben-Melech. Melech, remember, Avi-Melech, my father king. Melech, king. My father, king. Here's Ben Melech. Okay, don't be thrown by the change between the M-E-L-E-C-H and the M-A-L-I-C-H. Remember, there's no vowels in Hebrew. They're added. That's why it's so hard sometimes to figure out who exactly we're talking about. Here's Ben Melech, son of the king. The king's son. It says his son. Ben Melech, his son. And he was 12 years old. And they made him lying in the place of his father. And they called his name, look at, Ben Melech is now going to be called Avimelech. My father, king. After the name of his father. For thus was it their custom to do in Gerar. And Avimelech reigned instead of Avimelech his father. And he sat upon his throne. Okay, now we're going back to Isaac. Well, actually, not quite. Lot, the son of Haran. Oh, this is so interesting. Look at this. Lot, the son of Haran, also died. Who's Lot, the son of Haran? This is the same Lot that when Abraham left Haran with Sarah and, well, actually, he didn't take Milcah with him because Nahor didn't go at the same time. Terah actually took Abraham and Sarah and Lot with him when they went to Haran. Remember, Haran was named after what? The dead brother. The one who died in the fiery furnace. In your minds, when Abraham took Lot and Sarah, remember it said Abraham took Sarah, Nahor took Milcah, and Lot went with Abraham. They went to Haran. How old was Lot in your mind? In my mind, Lot was younger than Abraham. Is that the image that you had? Is that the image that you have? Well, this is all very, very interesting because look what's going to happen. And Lot, the son of Haran, also died in those days, in the 39th year of the life of Isaac. And all the days that Lot lived were 140 years, and he died. That tells us a story. If Isaac is 39 years old, we know that Abraham is what? 139 years old. And if Abraham is 139 years old, and Lot died in the 140th year, that means he was older than Abraham by 1 year. That also means he was older than Sarai by 11 years, doesn't it? Ooh, you know, it's just so amazing to see how pieces fit together and help us to understand the Torah that much more. Give us a more, dare I say, colored in picture in our minds. Fill in some of the blanks, some of the gray areas. I like that so much about Yasher. Well, here we were talking about things that were happening. Avimelech dying. Here's Lot dying. Now we're going to talk about Lot's seed. These are Lot's seed that were born to him by his daughters. The name of the first was Moab, from father. And the name of the second was son of my people, Ben-Ami. And the two sons of Lot took themselves women from where? The land of Canaan. And they bore sons to them. And the seed of Moab were Ed. Oh, Ed. Hey, Ed. How funny. Don't see that very often, do you? Ed, Maon, Tarsus, Conville. 4 sons. These are the fathers of Moab's seed. All right. Well, what happened to Ben-Ami? How come they give the seed of Moab, but they don't do the same thing to Ben-Ami? Did they leave it out? Did they forget it? And all the families of Lot's seed went to dwell wherever they should light upon, for they were fruitful and increased abundantly. And they went and built themselves cities in the land where they dwelt. And they called the names of the cities which they built after their own names. That's what always happens. What did we say? Asher. Built Asher. Or I forget what the name of the guys were up above, the grandees of the land. Mamre. Built Mamre. And Abraham heard that his brother was dead, and he grieved sadly, and he mourned over his brother many days, calling Lot his brother. What was Lot? Was he his brother? No, he was his cousin. No, he was his niece, a nephew. Nephew, that's what it was. Carrie would be after me if I were to say that. Because remember, Sarai was his niece. The daughter, and Lot was the son of Abraham's brother, Haran. Well, now it says we get to turn to 24. Oh, this is so interesting. Let's go to Genesis 24. Now Abraham was old, well advanced in age, and Jehovah blessed Abraham in all things. So Abraham said to the eldest servant of his house. Who's the eldest servant of Abraham's house? Well, you know what? Torah doesn't make it very clear, does it? But we know that the very first servant that Abraham got came from who? Nimrod. After he came out of the fiery furnace, Nimrod was so impressed he gave him actually 2 servants. Eliezer and one other. Don't remember what his name was right now. Must be dead by this time, I suppose. He's not ever mentioned again. This was the eldest servant in his house. In fact, remember in chapter 19, 18 perhaps, Abraham was complaining, I don't have a son, let Eliezer be my heir. Oh, and that fit in so well. Remember when we were talking about last week, Ishmael was saying, when Isaac's dead, I'm going to get all the stuff. And Eliezer said, no. Abraham already swore that Ishmael would not be the heir. So Eliezer figured it was all going to come to him. Wonder what they thought when they saw Isaac coming back with Abraham down from the mountain. Oh, rats. Is that what they were thinking? I wonder. So Abraham said to his oldest servant of the house, who ruled over all that he had, please put your hand under my thigh. Under my thigh. What's he talking about? What is this thigh we're talking about? And why would you put your hand under a thigh? I guess I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself because we're going to talk about this thigh business a little bit further on, I guess. Oh, unless... No, we're going to talk about it further on. Let me just read you a verse from Yasher here. It says, and Eliezer did as Abraham ordered him. And Eliezer swore unto Abraham his master upon this manner. What does putting your hand under his thigh have to do with swearing? And Eliezer rose up and took 10 camels of the camels of his master, and 10 men from his master's servants with him. 10 Evadim with him. 10 camels, 10 servants. And they rose up and went to Haran, the city of Abraham, and Nahor, in order to fetch a woman for Isaac. Oh, okay, it's coming. No, we're going to talk about the thigh in a bit. We're getting off to a slower start here than we have in past weeks. Remember, some of these things have just been outlines. Torah has just been an outline, and then we've been getting the details in Yasher. This is giving us a little bit more information. Verse 3. He says, and I will make you swear by who? By me? No, by Yehovah. You swear by Yehovah, you're going to do what you say you're going to do. Or you're going to be taking Yehovah's name in vain. That's the third commandment. Don't want to take Yehovah's name in vain. Because that's what his name means. What he will do. What he says he will do. Going to put a bad image to the people of the earth. I will make you swear by Yehovah, the Elohim of heaven, and the Elohim of earth, that you will not take a woman for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites, among whom I dwell. Don't want you to take a daughter from there. You know, oftentimes the translators and many teachers want you to think of Isaac as Yeshua. I see that all the time. Even the way they do some of their letters, capital letters, it's subtle, and you got to be careful. But I want you to think of Isaac as us. We do not take wives, women, from the Gentiles. They will lead us in a way that we're not supposed to go. I put Israel marries Israel. For Abraham, his family was the only place where he could find a righteous woman for his son. Had to go all the way back to Haran. Maybe this is a righteous, dare I say, free woman for his son? Because Abraham has a huge gap, doesn't he? How come he doesn't take one of those ladies as a son, as a woman for his son? I think he wants, in a sense, a free woman. Someone who's different from all the ladies that are in his camp. Remember, we marry within those ranks of people who are following Yehovah. We want a woman who's been trained to be a woman of worth, a woman who knows how to serve her man. Remember, this was Ishmael's problem. He married that woman from Egypt. The second one he married seemed to be a little bit better. But she was still a daughter of the Canaanites. I would have thought he would at least take somebody from Abraham's camp. Well, here's what Moses has to say about who we marry. This is Exodus 34:15. Lest you make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they go and commit adultery. We're not talking about physical adultery. Adultery is when we take other Elohim besides Yehovah. That's adultery. Who are your lawmakers? Who are your judges? Lest you make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land. Don't make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land. And they go and commit adultery with their Elohim, their lawmakers and judges, and slaughter to their lawmakers and judges. Folks, you're slaughtering to your lawmakers and judges all the time, or you're eating meat slaughtered to your lawmakers and judges all the time. It's the FDA's regulations and rules that govern the slaughterhouses of this world. Yehovah taught us to eat the meat that was slaughtered by us. We eat the meat that we kill, and we make sure that it's killed the way Yehovah says. Unlike the Elohim of this land. It says make sacrifice. It's not sacrifice, it's make slaughter to the Elohims. And one of them invites you to eat of his slaughter. Oh, you know what? We're having Thanksgiving here really soon, isn't it? Used to buy a bird every year, even though I don't keep Thanksgiving. Used to buy a bird every year because I could get it cheap. But then I read Leviticus 17, spoiled all my fun. Now I don't eat meat at all, not unless I kill it. Because that is meat slaughtered to other Elohim. Meat sacrificed to idols is usually how it gets translated. But look at what he says now in the very next verse. And you, who's he talking to? He's talking to Israel. You take of his daughters for your sons, and his daughters play the harlot with their Elohim, and make your sons commit adultery with their lawmakers and judges. Don't go there. Marry Israel. I love, who was it that married Ruth? Boaz married Ruth. Edville. Sheila, you crack me up. Edville, yeah, that's what it would be. Edville, naming the city after his own place. Boaz married Ruth. Remember what he said about Ruth? Oh, I just think it's so cool. He said, I have been made aware, something like that, how you have left your father and your mother and the land of your birth and have joined yourself to a people that is not your people. Oh, I put chills down my arms just thinking about that. Here's a woman who had a chance to go back to her father, but she decided to stay with Naomi and to join herself to a people that she didn't know. She was Naomi's servant. And this woman ended up doing what? Ended up becoming the woman of Boaz and a daughter of Yehovah, because he was a son of Yehovah. I'm sure he kept the Passover. We don't marry women who are foreigners' daughters. It's going to get you in trouble. Got me in trouble. I thought it was marrying a woman of God. Silly me. Wrong God. She served the Elohim of this world. And when things got tough for her, that's who she ran to. Shame on her. Don't take a woman for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites, among whom I dwell. He dwelt in the land of the Canaanites, as in a strange country. Verse 4. But you shall go to, look what it says, my country. No, it says to my land. The word is right here. Let's go down here. Get out of your, look what that word is right there. That's Aretz. Here. Aretz. Get out from your Aretz. This is when Abraham was telling him to leave. Get out of your Aretz. Same word that's being used above here. And you shall go to my land and to my family. Here, it's the same thing that they were doing in Genesis 12. Get out of your land, your Aretz, from your Aretz is what it actually says, and from your family, from thy family. Family, thy kindred. Here's the word, moladeth. Same word that's being used up here, moladeth. From your family. He wants him to get a woman from his land and from his family. But you shall go to my Aretz and my moladeth and take a woman for my son Isaac. And the servant said to him, perhaps the woman will not be willing to follow me to this land. Must I take your son back to the land from which you came? She won't follow me. She won't come to our land. Shall I bring him back? What did Abraham say? But Abraham said to him, beware that you do not take my son back there. Don't take him back there. This is the negative. He's going to tell him the positive. Don't do this. Do that. Jehovah's sons don't go backwards. Here's a verse in Hebrews. I don't often use New Testament verses, but I think this is kind of an interesting one. It says, for you have need of endurance, so that after you have done the will of Elohim, that you may receive the promise. For yet a little while, and he who is coming will come. He will not tarry. We always tend to think it's about Yeshua. It's not. It's about the male child. Maybe even Yehovah. He will not tarry. Well, he's tarried for quite a while, hasn't he? Now the just shall live by faith. But if anyone draws back, my soul has no pleasure in him. Don't draw back. He's not talking to ladies. He's talking to men. You know, the whole New Testament, we think he's talking to ladies, don't we? But we are not of those who draw back to perdition, to our old ways, but those who believe to the saving of the soul. Here, this is Ezekiel. But if a righteous man turns away, goes back from his righteousness, and commits iniquity, and does according to all the abominations that the wicked man does, shall he live? See, this is the problem that Abraham is seeing. Don't let him go back there. I want to keep him here. I want to keep him separate. Shall he live? All the righteousness which he has done shall not be remembered. Why? For two reasons. Because of the unfaithfulness which he is guilty. The unfaithfulness that he is guilty. Those are the things that he should have done, but didn't do. Should have left the kingdom of your birth, but I didn't leave it. Should have kept the Sabbath, but I didn't keep the Sabbath. And the sin which he has committed. Those are the things that he wasn't supposed to do, that he did do. Because of them he shall die. He doesn't want his son to go backwards. He wants his son to go forwards. He just, at this very time, Isaac is where? At Shem and Eber's house, learning the ways of Yehovah and to know Yehovah. 3 years he's been there. By the time Eliezer comes back with Rebekah, Isaac is going to be back from Shem and Eber. You see it at the end. Yehovah Elohim of heaven, verse 7, who took me from my father's house and the land and my family. Look, they got it right there. The land, not the country. The land. How come they translate one as the country and one as the land? I hate that. It's arbitrary translation. It drives me nuts. My father's house and the land of my family, and who spoke to me and swore to me, saying, to your seed I will give this land. And he will send an angel before you. He's still talking to Eliezer. And you shall take a woman for my son from there. From where? From my father's house. Terah's house. Now, this is really important. Remember, he's getting ready to take an oath to Yehovah that he's going to do everything that Abraham is telling him to do right here. He's still talking about it, going back and forth. What if I can't find her? Okay, he doesn't want to make an oath until he knows all the details. But we're going to see that he's going to fulfill all the details. And it's not until all the details are fulfilled that he's going to make the decision over which woman we're going to take. Ooh, it's pretty cool. To your seed I will give this land, and he will send his messenger, his angel, before you, and you shall take a woman for my son from there. I got to put a glass there. Sorry. This is my tea. Be right back. I'm not going to throw out my tea. I'm going to throw out my water. And I'm going to let this get caught in that. All right. Wow. Drip. 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 It's coming fast. All right. Where did we leave off here? Verse 8. And if the woman is not willing to follow you, then you will be released from this oath. Only do not take my son back there. So the servant put his hand under the thigh. Okay, they got the deal settled now. Now he's going to put his hand under his thigh. Under his thigh. What is that all about? Is that possibly a euphemism? So the servant, the Aved, Eliezer, put his hand under the thigh of Abraham, his master, and swore to him concerning this matter. Let's take a look at what this word actually says. Here it is. This is the word right here. Yarak. Yarak. Look what it says. Maybe I'll have to read it to you. You probably can't read it all. It says, from an unused root, meaning to be soft. The thigh, from its fleshly softness. By euphemism, the generative parts. Figurative, a shank, flank, side, loins, shaft, side, thigh. Okay, that's how it's all translated, those last things. What are we talking about? This is the verse, 24 verse 9. Now let's compare how that same word is translated in other places. Same word. 3409, 3409, 3409, 3409, 3409. All the same word. Look what it says. All the persons who went with Jacob to Egypt, who came from his loins, his thigh. Did he come from somebody's thigh? Besides Jacob's seed, women, Jacob's sons, besides Jacob's seed's women, Jacob's sons' women, the women are never counted. Isn't that amazing? They counted 66 people. And they didn't count a single wife the whole time. We'll get to it when we get to Isaiah or to Genesis 46. Didn't count a single woman unless she was unmarried. Isn't that interesting? The married women were not counted. Why? But all these came from his loins. Ooh, the married women wouldn't have come from his loins, would they? But they did count an adopted woman in that 66. There's so many things that we have to figure out. Here's another one. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls. Okay, so what are we talking about? We're talking about testicles. The privates. By euphemism, the generative parts. This is what's going on. Serious matter. Swearing by Jehovah's name, and in a sense, Abraham's seed. That's where Isaac comes from. Want to make an impact on your servant? Wow, that would be traumatic servant, at least for us. Verse 10. Then the servant took 10 of his master's camels and departed. Doesn't say 10 men, does it? Just 10 servants. Again, we have more light coming to us in Yasher. I'll read it to you again in just a second. For all his master's goods were in his hands. Hear that? Abraham is taking 10 camels with much, it says all of his master's goods. They weren't all in there, but he had a bunch of things, didn't he? And he rose and went to Mesopotamia, to the city of Nahor. Makes it sound like the city's name is Nahor. No, the city's name is Haran. That's where Nahor lives. Here it is in Yasher 24:34. We might get to it today. And Eliezer did as Abraham ordered him, and Eliezer swore unto Abraham his master upon this matter. And Eliezer arose and took 10 camels of the camels of his master, and 10 men from his master's servants with him. You know, here's a man, if you just read it in Torah, here's probably, how old is Eliezer? We're going to get to that in a minute, but I'm guessing he's about 107 to 120. He's an older man. Traveling with 10 camels and all of Abraham's goods? Yeah, right. And he doesn't have any men with him? Of course he's got men with him. Who's going to control the camels? Okay, we just got to think a little bit more deeply, don't we? And he made his camels kneel down outside the city by a well of water at evening time, the time when women go to draw water. The time when women go to draw water. We're there. You know what? How much time took place between verse 10 and verse 11? I want to show you something. Here is the trip that he's going to make. He's starting down here in Beersheba. All the names are all mushed together, but Beersheba stayed clean. Look at that. Isn't that nice? And up here is Haran. How far is it from Beersheba to Haran? We saw it was 3 days from Beersheba to the land of Moriah. How long is it from Beersheba to Haran? Check it out. We've got this cool little measuring tool. This is as the bird flies, of course. But here, from here to here, look what we get. 717 miles. We're talking 750 to 800 mile journey that these 11 men, Eliezer and 10 others, are going to take on their journey. How long does it take for 11 men, 10 camels loaded with a bunch of goods to make it to Haran? I'm sure we're talking months. Months. This is a long, long journey. Let's keep that in mind. Okay. So now here's Abraham. Here's Eliezer. Then he said, "Oh, Yehovah, Elohim of my master. Oh, Yehovah, Elohim of my master." Is Yehovah his Elohim? No. Yehovah is his master's Elohim. His master's lawmaker and judge. Abraham, in a sense, is his. No, Abraham is his lawmaker and judge. He's his master. Please give me success this day and show kindness to my master, Abraham. First prayer of personal guidance in the Bible. He did not pray for his own benefit, but for Abraham's and Isaac's benefit, didn't he? Behold, here I stand at the well of water, and the daughters of men, Adam's daughters of the city are coming to draw water. Now, let it be that the young woman to whom I say, "Please, let down your pitcher that I may drink." And she says, "Drink, and I will also give your camels drink." Let her be the one who you have appointed for your servant Isaac. He's praying for Abraham, and he's praying for Isaac, and he's praying for the woman to be revealed to him. He's got an oath to fulfill to Yehovah. No, to his master. that he swore in Jehovah's name. And by this I will know that you have shown kindness to my master. Not to him, to his master, Abraham. Look, it says, now let it be that the young woman, here's the word, damsel, the Na'ara. That word sound familiar? We talked about Na'ar last week or the week before. No, we talked about it last week too. Talked about it both weeks. Na'ar was the young men. This is the Na'ara. Young woman. Damsel. I put Eliezer is looking for the damsel that will go the extra mile in service to a man. In this case, even the servant of a man. A man she doesn't even know. You know, he had 800 miles to think about, how am I going to find a woman, the right woman, from the land of Abraham and from his family's house. How's he going to find that woman? Do you think he had time to work out what his prayer to Jehovah was going to be? I think he did. He's looking for the extra mile girl. He's looking for the woman who's going to ask, he's going to ask this strange woman, this Na'ar, Na'ar, the damsel, for water. And this is going to be the kind of woman who's not only going to give him water, but she's going to give his men water, and he's going to give his camels water. Water all his camels. Abigail was that kind of extra mile girl. Did you know that? She ended up getting David. She had a Nabal, but she got got a David. Let's read about it for a moment. So when David heard that Nabal was dead, he said, blessed be Jehovah, who has pleaded the cause of my reproach from the hand of Nabal, and has kept his servant from evil. How did Jehovah keep his servant from evil? Do you remember? It was Abigail who kept David from sinning against Jehovah by killing Nabal. For Jehovah has returned the wickedness of Nabal on his own head. And David, look what it says, Shalach sent. David sent and spoke to Abigail to take her to him for a woman. You know what? It says wife in my Bible, but it doesn't say wife. To take her to him for a woman. That's what it says. He didn't ask her to be his wife. He asked her to be his woman. Oh my goodness. The subtleties of Jehovah's word are amazing. And when David's servant had come to Abigail at Carmel, they spoke to her, saying, David sent us, Shalach us, to thee, to ask thee to become his woman, a woman for him. Then she arose, bowed her face to the earth, and said, here is thy Amah. Did you hear that word? Here is thy Amah, a shivka, to wash the feet of my master's servants. Not the feet of my master, the feet of my master's servants. She's not going to only wash the feet of his master, she's going to wash the feet of his servants. Here's a free woman calling herself an Amma and a Shifka, humbling herself in the sight of Abraham's servants. His Avadim, saying that she will wash the feet of my master's servants. Is he asking her to be his wife? It may turn into that eventually, but I don't think that that's exactly what was going on. I think he brought her in as his woman. And we'll see how things work out. You may become my wife, my woman. See, there's a difference between taking, what does it say? You really can't even see it in the English. But he took her to him. Lamed Vav. To him for Lamed Isha. Not Isha Vav. His Isha. It's subtle, but it's there, and you got to understand what's going on. She's an extra mile girl. That's the kind of woman that we're looking for. That's the kind of woman that's going to get an Isaac. That's the kind of woman that's going to get a David. You know what? That's the kind of woman that's going to get a Michael. It's true. Ain't going to put up with anything less than that. Now let the young woman to whom I say, please let down your pitcher. I guess we did that. Yeah. Drink, and I will give your camels drink. I'll give your camels drink. Let her be the one who you appointed for your servant Isaac. And by this I will know that you have shown kindness to my master. Not even to me, to my master. Wow. Eliezer, he's got it going, man. And it happened before he had finished speaking that Rebekah, who was born to Bethuel, son of Milcah, woman of Nahor, Abraham's brother, came out with her pitcher on her shoulder. Here she comes. Before he finished speaking. Do you hear that? Yehovah is answering his prayer before he finishes praying it. Oh my goodness, it brings tears to my eyes. 16. Now, the young woman was very beautiful to behold. A virgin, no man had known her. And she went down to the well, filled her pitcher, and came up. Look at this. Young woman, virgin. We've got some vocabulary to learn. Many of you have said, I really like it when you talk about some of the Hebrew words. I want to have you learn some more Hebrew words. Here is what we were talking about last couple weeks. Na'ar. Here it is right here. Na'ar. A boy. Servant. But now here is Na'ara. See how it's got the hey after it? Changing that word. Now, for some reason, this particular word doesn't have the hey after it. It calls her a Nara. And the Nara. Girl. They give her another name. They give it a different number. There's 5288. Na'ar. Here's 5291. Na'ara. Why? Same word. Just is missing the hey. But we're talking about a Betula. A betula. If we're talking about a betula, it can't be a nar, can it? That's why they gave it that number. And that's why we understand this as a young woman. Young woman. The young woman, see now the commentator, the all-knowing commentator, knows what happened after the fact. Says, now the young woman was very beautiful to behold, a virgin. No man had known her. Well, how does he know? Well, because now we know, Isaac told him. She was a virgin. Yeah, when I got her into my mother's tent, she bled. She was a virgin. We don't know that right now, do we? No man had known her. And she went down to the well, filled her pitcher, and came up. And the servant ran to meet her as she's going back up the hill, apparently, and said, please, let me drink a little water from your pitcher. And she said, drink, my lord. Here's a woman calling a complete stranger, granted an elderly stranger, probably a well-dressed elderly stranger, but a man who's been on an 800-mile journey. Drink, Adonai. Drink, my master. Then she quickly let down her pitcher down to her hand and gave him a drink. And when she had finished giving him a drink, she said, I will draw water for your camels also, until they have finished drinking. Oh my goodness. Can you hear the alarms going off in Eliezer's head? Oh. I'm sure he's just so excited. He found her! The extra mile girl! But there's still something more that's needed. Do you know what it is? He's in the right city. But he needs to know one more thing. I put, are we training our daughters to be extra mile girls? You know what? Most of us are training our daughters to be men. Not extra mile girls in service to a man. What a shame. We should be teaching our daughters to serve us. We should be teaching our daughters to serve her brothers. But we teach our daughters to be men. We send them off to school to other men. We send them off to college where they're completely uncovered. Is that what happened with Rebekah? No, she's working for her father. She's working for her father's house, drawing water when the women come down to draw water, not the men come down to draw water. Oh, I know, I'm such a male chauvinist. That's what you think, isn't it? Well, get over it. Does Yahweh change? Does his word endure forever? Or not? And when she had finished giving him a drink, she said, I will draw. Okay, we just did that. Then she quickly emptied her pitcher into the trough, ran back to the well to draw water, and drew for all his camels. I'm sure Eliezer is stunned by what he's seeing. How can this happen so fast? I just prayed it. And the man wondered at this. There it is. How does it happen? Remained silent, so as to know whether Yehovah had made his journey prosperous or not. Already! How long has he been there? Minutes, probably. So it was when the camels had finished drinking that the man took a gold nose ring weighing half a shekel and 2 bracelets for her wrists, weighing 10 shekels of gold, and said, whose daughter are you? He hasn't given it to her yet. Whose daughter are you? Oh, man. Tell me, please, is there room in your father's house for us to lodge? So she said, I am the daughter of Bethuel, Milcah's son, whom she bore to Nahor. Oh, man. Yehovah is so good. This was Eliezer's final sign. He was to take a woman for Isaac from Abraham's family, his kindred. His decision is made right here. That was the last straw. It's a done deal. Moreover, she said to him, we have both straw and feed enough and room to lodge. Then the man bowed down his head and worshipped Yehovah. And he said, blessed be Yehovah, Elohim of my master Abraham, who has not forsaken his mercy and his truth toward my master. As for me, being on the way, Yehovah led me to the house of my master's brethren. So the young woman ran and told her mother's household, these things. Isn't it interesting? Her mother's household, not her father's household. Now Rebekah had a brother whose name was Lavan. And Lavan ran out to the man by the well. So it came to pass, when he saw the nose ring and the bracelet on his sister's wrists, and when he heard the words of his sister Rebekah saying, thus the man spoke to me, that he went to the man, and there he stood by the camels at the well. And he said, come in, O blessed of Yehovah. Why do you stand outside? For I have prepared the house and a place for the camels. Hear that? This is the man saying that he's prepared the house and the place for the camels. Then the man came to the house, and he unloaded the camels and provided straw and feed for the camels, and water to wash his feet and the feet of his men who were with him. And food was set before him to eat. And he said, I will not eat until I have told thee about my errand. And he said, speak on. So he said, I am Abraham's servant. Remember now, we got to sell this to the men, don't we? He's already made his decision. The girl that he's supposed to bring is Rebekah. If she will not come from you, you will be released from the oath. But right now, he's done everything that he needs to do. But he still needs her father's permission. I am Abraham's servant, and Yehovah has blessed my master greatly. And he has become great, and he has given him flocks and herds, silver and gold, male and female servants, camels, donkeys. Yes, he's got a camp, more than 1,000, probably more than 2,000 strong by this time, probably more than that. And Sarah, my master's woman, bore to my master when she was old. And to him he has given all that he has. All the gold, all the silver, all the flocks, the herds, the female servants, the camels and donkeys. They're going to be Isaac's. Remember, this Lavan, is going to be Rachel and Leah's father. Well, saying that my master bore a son to, or Sarah bore a son to my master is old news. Remember, Nahor and all his family came down they were in Gerar at that time. He was still 3 years old. At the weaning. Remember, had a huge party. He knows it. This is just confirming it. Bethuel was there with Nahor. Now my master made me swear, saying, you shall not take a woman for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites, in whose land I dwell. He dwelt in the land of the Canaanites, but didn't follow their Elohim, didn't take sons and daughters for his sons. But you shall go to my father's house and to my family and take a woman for my son. And I said to my master, perhaps the woman will not follow me. Okay, this is where we're at right now. Will the woman follow him? He's found the woman. No doubt about it. Answered the prayer. But he said to me, Yehovah, before whom I walk, will send an angel with you and prosper your way, and you shall take a woman for my son from my family and from my father's house. My family and my father's house. Terah's house. A free woman. You will be clear from this oath when you arrive among my family. For if they will not give her to you, then you will be released from the oath. And this day I came to the well and said, O Yehovah, Elohim of my master Abraham, this day, if you will now prosper the way in which I go, behold, I stand at the well. And it shall come to pass that when, look at what they did. Oh my goodness. They put virgin. And it shall come to pass that when the virgin, how does he know she's a virgin? When the virgin comes out to draw water, and I say to her, please give me a little water from your pitcher to drink. What's the word there that they're translating as virgin? Oh my goodness. The lies that get put into the Torah is amazing. Look at what the word is. It's the word Alma. Whoops, I guess I got to get the H2. Alma. Alma. Lass. Damsel. Mature woman. Not virgin. He doesn't know she's a virgin. But yet they translate it as a virgin. Why? Look at even in our definition here. Now I'm going to make it so you can see it a little bit more. Here. Lass. It's a lass. As a veiled or private. Okay, but now, look, it says, the dash there. See the dash after, just before it says damsel, maid, virgin? That's how it gets translated as. That's not the definition. That's how it gets translated as. Okay, we make the mistake of thinking that that's the definition. But that's not the definition. If you go to the definition here, if we go to the definition here, Alma 5959. Okay, here it is down here, 5959. That means when we go to our dictionary, 5959, we're going to see it. Here's the ancient Hebrew lexicon of the Bible. 5959. Let's see if we can find it real quick. There's a lot of things here, but I'm just going to go down, page down, to where it says, oh, I already got it marked. Perfect. 5959. Here it is. Youth. Alma. Here's the Alma. Young female at prime age for work. Okay? This is a free woman. This is not an Amma. This is an Alma. It's the same word, only it's got the lamed in it. The Alma is a free woman. The Amma is a servant like the Shifka is. We're talking about an Alma. doesn't have anything to do with virgin. Why do they add the virgin business? Oh my goodness. Let's take a look at a verse. Oh, how am I going to shut this? I got it so big I can't even close it. Oh, rats, I'm going to have to move this. All right, I guess that'll work. I want to go to Isaiah, verse 7. Here it is here. Oh, the lies we've learned. And this is how they propagate those lies, by switching words on us. Here it is. Verse 14. Therefore, Yahovah himself will give you a sign. Behold. It says, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son, capital S, and call his name Emmanuel. Is that what it says? It says, bless, therefore Adonai himself will give you a sign. Behold, the Alma. Ha-Alma. There it is, right there. Ha-Alma. Ha-Alma. Not a virgin. Shall conceive and bear a son and call his name Emmanuel. El. With us. That's what El is. El with us. El. What's an El? Lawmaker and a judge. We're talking about the male child who's going to lead in each one of their gates. El with us. Appointed by Yahovah. But see, now we go back to the Christmas story and all the crap of the New Testament, which grabs all this stuff out of context, and you swallow it whole because you treat the New Testament as though it were Yahovah's word instead of the commentaries perverted by the Catholic Church. This is why we're calling the Alma a virgin. Lies, lies, lies. Let's go back to our story. Oh, how do we go there? There it is right here. They're calling her a virgin. No, 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 she's not a virgin. Behold, I stand at the well of water, and shall come to pass that when the young woman comes out to draw water, I will say, please give me a little water from your pitcher to drink. An Alma is not a virgin. A virgin can be an Alma. In other words, all virgins are Almas, but not all Almas are virgins. It's like all priests are Levites, but not all priests are Levites or priests. You follow me? They're all women, young women, but they're not all virgins. This is an Alma. He doesn't know if she's a virgin or not. 44. And she says to me, drink, and I will draw your camel also. I will draw for your camels also. Let her be the woman who has appointed for my master's servant. Now look what it says. But before I had finished speaking, he's still talking to Bethuel. I wonder if Nahor's there. He's talking to Bethuel. He's talking to Lavan. But before I had finished speaking in my heart, wasn't even saying it out loud, there was Rebekah coming out with her pitcher on her shoulder. And she went down to the well and drew water. And I said to her, please, let me drink. And she made haste and let her pitcher down from her shoulder and said, drink. Oh, she said, drink, my Lord. He's underplaying it. Drink, and I will give your camels a drink also. So I drank, and she gave the camels drink also. Then I asked her, and she said, whose daughter are you? And she said, the daughter of Bethuel, Nahor's son, whom Milcah bore to him. So I put the nose ring on her nose. Hear that? As soon as he heard, he already found the woman of worth. Now he discovers she is, in fact, the woman from Abraham's family. The other half that he needed. As soon as he saw it. So I put the nose ring in her nose and the bracelet on her wrists. And I bowed my head and worshipped Yahovah and blessed Yahovah Elohim of my master Abraham, who had led me in the way of truth. And I took the daughter of my master's brother to take, who led me in the way of truth, to take the daughter of my master's brother for his son. Now, if you will deal kindly, remember now, he's got to get Bethuel's. Okay. Now, if you will deal kindly and truly with my master, tell me. And if not, tell me, that I may turn to the right hand or to the left. Then Lavan and Bethuel answered and said, the thing comes from Yahovah. We cannot speak to you either good or bad. Here is Rebekah before you. Take her and go, and let her be thy master's son's woman, as Yahovah has spoken. Oh my goodness, look what it says in Yasher. And they blessed Yahovah and brought this thing about, and they gave him Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel, for a woman for Isaac. And the young woman was of very comely appearance, beautiful. She was a virgin. Here's the young woman, the Alma. Well, that might be Na'ar. She was a virgin. And Rebekah, look at what it says. And Rebekah was 10 years old in those days. Rebekah is 10 years old. And Bethuel and Lavan and his sons made a feast that night. His seed made a feast that night. And Eliezer and his men, and there it is, seed, men, came and ate and drank and rejoiced there on that night. Well, what kinds of things do you think they talked about that night? Do you think that Eliezer was telling him some of the wonderful things that Abraham had told him in the visions that Yahovah had given him? Do you think Bethuel and even her brother Lavan would be interested in those kinds of things? Talked probably way into the morning. And it came to pass when Abraham's servants heard their words that he worshipped, Abraham's servant heard their words, he worshipped Yahovah, bowed himself to the earth. And the servant brought out jewelry of silver, jewelry of gold, clothing, and gave them to Rebekah. He's making her rich. And he also gave precious things to her brother and her mother. I'm sure to her father as well. And he and his men who were with him, there it is right now, ate and drank and stayed all night. And they rose in the morning, and he said, send me away to my master. Shalach me away to my master. Then her brother and her mother said, let the young woman stay with us. Remember, they want to leave that next morning. But her brother and her mother are saying, let the young woman stay with us a few days, at least 10. after that she may go. Okay, this is the mother and the brother. Are they the ones that are going to make the decision? No, they're not the ones that are going to make the decision. They're the ones who are going to maybe impact the decision maker, but they're not the ones who make the decision. And he said to them, do not hinder me. Since Jehovah has prospered my way, send me away that I may go to my master. So they said, we will call the young woman and ask her personally. Here they are. Now they're going to ask Rebekah. Up till now, they haven't asked Rebekah, have they? Take her and go, they said. Now they're going to ask the woman. You want to wait 10 days? And they don't have a choice of waiting 10 days or leaving today. This is her choice. She's going. She's already been given to him. You want to wait 10 days, honey, or you want to go now? What does she say? Then they called Rebekah and said to her, will you go with this man? And she said, I will go. Hasn't said many words, has she? I will draw water. My father is the son of Milcah, the woman of Nahor. There's room in our house. Those are the words that she's spoken so far. Now her word is, I will go. Oh, it's so beautiful. She will go. 10 years old. I will go. So they sent away Rebekah, their sister, and her nurse. Who's her nurse? We're going to find out when we do the second half. That might have to be next week, huh? I really thought we'd get through both of these today. Now we're having a hard time getting through the rest of this chapter. We're going to find out that the nurse is Deborah, one of the daughters of Nahor. And sister of Bethuel. I believe is what she is. We'll have to check that. So they sent away Rebekah, their sister, and her nurse, and Abraham's servant with his men. Here, what does it say here? Maybe this will tell us a little bit about that. Let's find out here. This will tell us about her nurse. They sent away Rebekah, their sister, and her nurse. Okay, nurse. Oh, that's interesting. This is probably somebody who suckled her. Nurse, her nurse. Nurse, it's all about sucking. She nursed her. Deborah is the daughter of Uz. Oh, that's right. Ooh, they're cousins, I believe. Daughter of Uz, Nahor's firstborn. So Nahor, remember, Nahor had 6 sons by Milcah. No, 8 sons by Milcah. And 4 sons by Reumah. 4 sons. The last of the 8 sons was Bethuel. The first son was Uz. Deborah is the daughter of Uz, Nahor's firstborn. And Rebekah is the daughter of Bethuel, Nahor's youngest, the 8th son. I would guess that there are many years difference between Deborah, who is able to nurse Rebekah. Apparently, Deborah never married. Here's the evidence of that. Now it came to pass after these things that it was told Abraham, saying, indeed, Milcah has borne children, sons, to your brother Nahor. Huz, his firstborn. There's Huz. Huz is the one who is the father of Deborah. Buz, his brother, Kemuel, Kasid, Hasbo, Pilshdash, Jidlab, and Bethuel, the 8th. And Bethuel begat Rebekah. So Deborah is Huz's daughter, and Rebekah is Bethuel's daughter, so they are cousins. These 8 were born to Nahor, who his brother. Oh, yeah, and here it is right here. His concubine, whose name was Reumah, that's who I said it was, had 4 sons. You know, they don't mention the daughters at all. They had 4 sons. I figured Deborah was more like a nanny at this point. She may have nursed her, but she's 10 years old right now. I think she's probably been caring for her through these years. That'd be my guess. And they blessed Rebekah and said, listen to what they said to her. It says, our sister, may you become the mother of thousands of 10,000s, thousands of 10,000s, and may your seed possess the gates of those who hate them. Remember, a lady doesn't have seed. Your seed possess the gates of those who hate them. Those who hate them, what a strange thing to say, wouldn't you think? Except they've been talking to Eliezer all night long. They found out some things. They also knew the promises that Jehovah had given Abraham after Isaac was saved at Mount Moriah. Remember, that was just recently. This is when this prophecy came to him. And we're excited to see them fulfilled through sweet Rebekah. Here's the prophecy. Came in chapter 22, 2 chapters ago. Second chapter 23 was the burial of Sarah. Then the angel of Jehovah called to Abraham a second time out of heaven. Vision. By myself I have sworn, says Jehovah, because you have done this thing and have not withheld your son, your only son. I will bless you and multiplying, I will multiply your seed as the stars of the heaven. And as the stars, as the sand which is on the seashore. That's where the thousands of 10,000s comes from. And your descendants, your seed, shall possess the gate of their enemies. This is all still to be fulfilled. May your seed possess the gates of those who hate them, their enemies. Then Rebekah and her maids, what is the word there that they're using? Damsels. Na'ara, in the plural, and damsels. She had damsels that went with her also. Young women who went with her. Isn't that interesting? Do you think those women were going to become, well, they'd have to become wives, women, of some of Abraham's servants? Then Rebekah and her maids, her damsels, arose, and they rode on the camels, and followed who? Followed the man. So the servant took Rebekah and departed. Lekach, took her and departed. Now Isaac came from the way of Be'er Lakai Roi, for he dwelt in the south. Hear that? His father dwelt in Be'er Sheva. He dwelt in Be'er Lakai Roi. Here it is. Let's understand where they're going to live. Let's go back down to 75. Let's see if we can find it. There's Beersheba and Be'er Lakai Roi. Remember, Be'er Lakai Roi is where the messenger, Jehovah, sent a man to speak to Hagar when she left the house of Abraham back when he was living in Haran. And he caught her pregnant with Ishmael at Be'er Lakai Roi. This is where Isaac is dwelling right now, it appears. Here it is. Be'er Lakai Ra'ai. The well of living. Oh, this is interesting. I always like to look at the words. These are 3 words. Be'er. Be'er. We know Be'er. Be'er means well. That's Be'er Shiva. We've already seen that. The well of 7, or 7 wells. Or the well of Os. Be'er. It's well. Then we know this word, Lakai. To life, Lakayim. Lakayim, Lakayim, to life. That's to life. The well, to life. But look at this last word, Ra'ai. Ra'ai. They use this word right here. Ru'ama. Ru'ama. Raised. But it's really the name of this woman that we were just talking about that was Nahor's other woman that gave him the four sons. Re'umah. Re'umah. So, I had to look at this a little more closely. They use this word H7208. I looked to the roots, and I found this first. This is Ancient Hebrew Lexicon of the Bible. Ru. Ru. Okay, there's Ru. Ru it doesn't have the yod on it though. It's just the Ru. It means see. The ability to see, perceive, or have a vision. But now, then I looked at this Re'umah. That's the thing we were just looking at, raised. But then I looked at the variations of this particular Hebrew word, and I found that word. Resh, Aleph, Yod. Okay, that's the word that we're talking about up here. Resh, Aleph, Yod, right there. You see that? It means mirror, as seen, or a looking glass. So I, just playing, think about what could we be talking about? We know it means to life or for life. To life or for life. Lakayim. To life or for life. Lakai. To life, for life. We know Be'er means well. So what are we talking about? The well of life revealed? Well of life found? Here's something that they put, I thought was interesting. They had here. Well, this is strong. Well of a living one, my seer. So they're adding things to it. Okay, they're making it the yod be see. They still see are understanding the resh aleph as see. But now instead of making it a verb, they're making it a noun and using the yod to be my seer. I don't think that's right. It doesn't work because this is a verb that we're talking about. So I think well of life revealed or well to life found. One of those two or some variation of that. You got to search it out. At any rate, let's keep moving. I want to get done with this today. We just have a few more verses. And Isaac went out to meditate in the field in the evening. And he lifted up his eyes and looked. Remember, he's just back from spending 3 years with Shem and Eber. And he looked, and there the camels were coming. Then Rebekah lifted her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she dismounted from her camel. And she said to the servant, "Who is this man?" Remember, he's her servant now. "Who is this man walking in the field to meet us?" The servant said, "It is my master." So she took a veil and covered herself. For she had said to the servant, or covered herself. And the servant told Isaac all the things that he had done. You won't believe this story, Isaac. If there's any doubt in your mind that this is the right woman, know for fact this is the right woman. Then Isaac brought her into his mother's Sarah's tent. tent. And he took Rebekah. Remember, Isaac is how old? He's 40. She's 10. He took Rebekah and she became his woman. Isha Vav. That's a wife. And he loved her. So Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. Oh my goodness. Isn't this just an amazing story? I love reading Yehovah's word. I love it when I can add some of the details that we were able to find here in Yasher and decode what actually is going on in this verse. I think it's so beautiful. Next time, look what we're going to talk about. Abraham again took a woman. And her name was Keturah. We're going to talk about Keturah next time. We're going to talk about wives versus concubines. We're going to talk about Isaac and Ishmael. We're going to talk about, I believe, yes, Esau and Jacob next time. Oh my goodness. I hope we get through it all because we still have to cover Yasher's portion of what we covered today. But in Torah, they make Esau look like a good guy, and they make Jacob look like the wimp. Oh, I hate that. Lies, lies, lies. Wait till you see the truth of this matter. So much to see for those who have eyes that want to see more truth. Hey, thanks for joining me today. Remember, we got an exciting class for you next week too. Sign up for my YouTube channel and you won't miss the excitement. Talk to you soon. Bye now.